Try and talk now. I tried. Okay, let's try that again. Looks like we're set for tonight's meeting. I'd like to call the meeting of regular council to order for Tuesday, March 25th, 2025 at 5:06. The meeting is held and transmitted electronically via the council chambers, which is located at 39 South Shore Road, Lake Cowichan, BC. And in the background, you can hear the fire siren going. So we'll pause for that too. Huge shout out to the local volunteer fire department that was just summoned out, as you probably heard. I would like to acknowledge our gathering on the ancestral unceded territory of the Subassit people, who have walked gently on these lands for millennia, and we thank them for the opportunity to work, play, and cooperate together. So I'm going to call the meeting to order. Introduction of late items. Do we have any? Councillor Bomaka.
Oh, sorry. Late items would be a leave of absence tonight for Councillor Frisbee.
So a leave of absence for Councillor Frisbee for tonight's meeting. And you had another one under notice of motion, I believe?
I could do that now.
Yes.
An update on the meeting with our MLA, Deborah Toporowski, regarding the disc golf at the former A.B. Greenwell School.
Okay, with those changes, someone like to move the agenda as amended? Councillor Austin, seconded by Councillor Sandhu. All in favor? Opposed, if any? That motion carries. So public input, this is your opportunity for both of you who are in the public tonight. If you wish to speak to anything on tonight's agenda, please come up to the podium, state your name and what your business would be this evening. Don't see anyone running up there, so we will continue on with adoption of the minutes. We have the minutes of the regular council meeting held on February 25th, 2025. Perusing those, any errors or omissions before we move those? Seeing none, moved by Councillor Bomaka, seconded by Councillor Sandhu. All in favor? Opposed, if any? That motion carries. No business arising or unfinished business, staff, on those? Thank you. I see no delegations, but we do have two action items under correspondence. The first one is from the Association of Vancouver Island Coastal Communities, and it's a request for feedback on reforming the Local Government Act. Any input on this from councillors or staff? I think it's important moving forward that we look at updating the Local Government Act and the Community Charter, especially for regional districts, in my opinion, who at current time don't have approving authority for subdivisions within their boundaries, which has to go to the Ministry of Transportation and other provincial ministries. I think that would accommodate faster building of needed housing within regional districts if that was what fit within the OCP, et cetera. I think there is some need for other updates within the community charter when we look at maybe implementing code of conduct within the legislation instead of having it implemented in each community. If it resided within the community charter or the Local Government Act, that would be more accommodating for members to adhere to those, I would think. Anyone else? Question? Please.
So is this something we should each do the survey ourselves, or do we do one on behalf of the town?
I think it would be your own personal opinion on how you would think that this legislation could be updated. So given my feedback, that would be my input. I'm not sure what any other members of council might look through that and see what could be improved. Okay? So if you can have a look at that and do it at your leisure. Yeah, you have a couple of days. Okay, moving forward, we have a request from Lake Days 2025 for support and financial contribution to Lake Days Barbecue. If we open that up, have a look. Councillor Vomaka.
Can I get clarification again, because the town sells the steak tickets and the town also pays for the remaining portion of the steaks? Is that all of it? But the money that comes into the town office for those tickets stays with the town? Yeah. Okay, thanks for clarification.
And I think there's some in-kind contributions, whether it be setup and that sort of thing throughout the Lake Days celebration. Public Works is involved with that, putting up tents, et cetera, within Saywell Park. And fencing, I believe, is done there as well. So your leisure on this topic, Councillor Austin. Microphone, please.
We set the price of the tickets. Do we remember what they were last year? Were they 10? Is that feasible again for this year with high costs? I mean, I don't know. Who knows?
We can check with Country Grocer. They're usually pretty good at looking around and
Giving us a
sourcing
deal.
really
Okay.
good meat at a really good price.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Sandu.
I was just going to suggest that we increase the tickets to $15 from $10. That's just my own personal take on it. Country Grocer does give discounts and whatnot for Lake Days. They do a lot of sponsorship for Lake Days, so I don't want to, ask them to comp, this particular, but we need to at least cover more costs than we have in the past. So I'm going to make the recommendation and then for discussion. So I would like to make a recommendation that we increase the tickets for the Family Steak Barbecue on Lake Days June 14th, 2025, from $10 to $15.
Do I have a seconder on that? I have a seconder.
Hello?
There is no such thing as a friendly.
Well, a non-friendly amendment. I would say why not split the difference, make it 12 or 12.50? 15 is quite a bit. This has always meant to be for people, families and things like that to come and enjoy. If we could do it for free, we would do it for free, but we can't. So could we split the difference and maybe make it 12?
Councillor Sandu, let's not get into a debate, but
No, I'm not going to debate the price. What I'm going to say is there's a lot of work involved in this, and there's a lot of people that think they can actually buy a ticket on the weekend of Lake Days, and we're sold out. So it seems like it's the same people each year that are getting the tickets ahead of time because they remember and whatnot. So sometimes I think that's a little unfair to the rest of the community if we're not advertising it out there so everybody can have an opportunity to buy a ticket. So that is just my only take on that. And going to $12, I'm fine with that. I have no issue with that.
The current motion reads $15, so I don't think 12 is a friendly amendment. That would change the intent of the motion. So if you wish to change it, we will have to defeat the current motion and move forward with an accommodating remedy to move that other motion. So if there's no more discussion, it was moved and seconded that the steak barbecue ticket price be increased to $15. All in favor? Opposed? That motion fails. Do you have a subsequent motion? Councillor Austin.
I make the motion that the barbecue tickets be set at $12 per person.
Do I have a seconder on that? Seconded by Councillor Bomaka. No further discussion on this? And that tickets be sold within the town office, just so everyone knows who's watching. That's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed, if any? That motion carries. If we can report back to Lake Days about tonight's decision, that would be great. Now we're moving forward to council and committee reports. In the absence of Councillor Frisbee, I am the vice chair. So I would like to move the minutes of the Committee of the Whole meeting from March 11th with the following recommendations. Have a look here. That the committee recommend approval of the purchase of a higher resolution digital display board at the municipal office at a cost of $6,393.71, plus applicable shipping costs and taxes. Also, that the committee recommend the approval for consultant fees in the amount of $30,000 for recruitment costs prior to the approval of the 2025 financial budget. That the committee recommend approval of the Lake Cowichan Fire Department's incident report in the amount of $9,828.05 for February 2025. Also, that the committee recommend that the town of Lake Cowichan put out a statement advising residents and businesses on our stance on the sale of harmful sunscreens in our community, and that that statement be released on International Water Day on March 22nd, 2025. And that the committee recommend approval of the attendance of Mark Brown, Chief Administrative Officer at the Association of Vancouver Island Coastal Communities Conference to be held in Nanaimo, BC on April 11th to 13th. I would move those minutes with those recommendations. Seconded. Any discussion on that? Councillor Bomaka? So in consideration of the one motion where we were going to a statement, I will accommodate that in the mayor's report tonight. We failed to get it out on International Water Day, but we will have that posted in the mayor's report after I do have that read. All in favor? Opposed, if any? That motion carries. Thank you. Moving on, we have Cowichan Lake Recreation Commission. Councillor Sandu was unavailable. Councillor Frisbee is not here. So I attended yesterday's meeting and very short agenda. Some of the discussions were relief on fees for certain organizations that are holding fundraisers. There was 3 of them that were brought forward, and most of them were endorsed with a reduction on rental fees. Moving forward, they're looking for a region-wide policy on relief of rental fees for those organizations who do such fundraising opportunities. There was a request by one organization to be allowed to provide food outside of the cafeteria at one of the benefit upcoming, and that was turned down for reasons of safety and liability. So the Lake Cowichan Recreation will run the concession, but have a reduction further to the policy that accommodated a 40% reduction for the ice rental. It would be another 20% reduction in lieu of them having a food opportunity for that. So with those, looking towards the regional policy that's coming forward, hopefully for the next Recreation Committee meeting. So that's a heads up to you, Councillor Sandu, that that is coming forward for all recreation facilities to have a blanket policy throughout the region as we move into regional funding of the regional recreation. And with that, that was just for information. Those minutes will be coming shortly, and they will be transmitted to you all electronically, and you can have a look at them then. So from there, we'll go to Vancouver Island Regional Library. Councillor Vamaka?
No report because there's been no meeting since the AGM.
Thank you very much. Advisory Planning Commission? Councillor Sandu.
Thank you. Our meeting was held February 27th, 2025 at council chambers. The consultant planner reviewed the 2025 work plan. The new business was the summary of the regional climate gathering. It was treated as information. Under new business, member Duncan Brown requested the opportunity to give the Planning Commission a presentation on attainable housing and projections. And the second bit of new business, that the commission recommend that a code of conduct be established for the APC membership. One was opposed, but the motion carried. And our next meeting is this Thursday at 4 p.m. in council chambers.
Thank you. Any questions on that? Seeing none, I'll move forward to the Community Forest Co-op. That's me again. So the Forest Co-op is announcing a significant contribution and partnership with Cowichan, the Diddy Dot Nation, in our community forest at the Forest Discovery Center on April 4th. I forwarded an invitation to council members. If you're able to attend, please reply to that, RSVP. This is for the Cowichan Hospital Auxiliary Foundation, who is fundraising in conjunction with the Pattison Group, who has agreed to match up to $5 million for any contributions made within the Cowichan Valley. So that could be a total of $10 million towards purchase of equipment that is not accommodated by the health ministry. That also coincides with local groups are submitting applications for contributions in the grant process. There has been one meeting with the Finance Committee to vet those applications, and no final decision has been made. There is a deadline that has approached, and all those who were submitted will be vetted and then accommodated with correspondence of whether they were successful or not. Most of the community members who apply have projects that benefit the whole community. So when we look at the significant contributions of the Cowichan Lake Community Forest Cooperative and its partnership with Cowichan, it leaves legacies in both communities that will live for generations to come. Alongside with continuing contributions to the food bank, to the Community Services Christmas Hamper Fund, 3 significant scholarship contributions, working collaboratively with the Cowichan Valley Regional District on upgrades to the Trans-Canada Trail, trails in Honeymoon Bay and Yubo Mile 77 park improvements. There's been significant contributions throughout the West Cowichan and the Cowichan Valley, with a $100,000 donation that was made a number of years ago to Cowichan Hospice. So if you can make April 4th, it will be a significant contribution on the benefits of the community forest license that is provided by the province of British Columbia. And see you there for some light refreshments afterwards. With that, I just move, actually, that's just for your information. So we'll move to Councillor Austin. Anything on the community outreach team?
Isn't CBRD first?
I'm going to stop talking for a minute and let you do it.
You are? I get to do the CBRD one? Oh, sorry. Okay. The outreach team meeting was Thursday, March 20th at 9:30. Jocelyn reported that they're renovating during the months of April and May. They hope to obtain a washer and dryer for use on site by those in need. It was a little more tricky at the laundromat because one of the workers would have to stay there and hand out coins and stuff when they would be wanting to be doing something else. As an occupational therapist, Jocelyn is working with Caitlin, counselor at LCS. And there is some good news. Community Services have put in a bid to manage Strong Start at Paulson. They should hear if they're successful soon. Strong Start is where they have the new young mums and young kids and that all come and they get to meet each other and they do some things and read books and stuff. It's good for the newcomers to the community. There are changes in counselors currently. Some restructuring was required with 2 new positions needing updated educational attributes, which have been advertised. Natalie, Cameron, and David are still on staff in their positions. Reaching Home has been renewed for another year, and funding is available for applications up to 2028. That's what Cameron manages, the Reaching Home section. The transit strike is affecting those who use the buses to go to Duncan quite substantially. Therefore, they're getting more folks using their food cupboard for supplies, and the refresh market has been cleaned out a few times with nothing left for latecomers. So she did show us the pantry. There's still a lot of food in the food cupboard, but again, that could go down very quickly. Patty Chung from the Ministry of Social Development and Poverty Reduction was in attendance. She visits folks in their homes here and hopes to spend some days at community services offices in order to serve the people here in a more contained manner. Patty mentioned the group SAJE called SAGE. It handles transitions for youth aging out of care. And she thought maybe community services could coordinate with that group as well, because that's really, you know, you're 18 years old, goodbye, out the door. This is a good group to work with. So it's, as they say, it's one of the best meetings I like to go to. Lots of good information for our community.
Thank you very much. Any questions to Councillor Austin on those? Seeing none, I'll move on to our Cowichan. I have not attended a meeting yet, but I believe they do have my email finally. So I will look for the upcoming meeting and attend as I can. Yes, Councillor Austin.
Don't forget, I'm the alternate if you need me to go, and I'm available. Thank you.
Thank you for that reminder. Anything on Cowichan Watershed Board? Councillor Sandhu.
Our next meeting is Monday, March 31st. But this past Saturday, on Saturday, March 22nd, our community was host to celebrate World Water Day. And I'd like to thank the Cowichan Watershed Board, Danny, Jill, Tom, the Cowichan Lake River Stewardship Society, Brian Hoole from Catalyst, who gave 3 45-minute tours of the weir. I'd like to thank the CVRD for providing an information display of the regional climate strategy. There were over 100 people signed up for the weir tour, and many, many more came just for the display and the conversation of the Cowichan watershed. So it was a great turnout. We had people coming that came from Salt Spring Island, Victoria. Tom Rutherford was on CBC Friday morning just showcasing what was going to be happening here on Saturday, and it reached people. So we had a lot of tourism in Lake Cowichan, and so that to me was a great day. The weather held off the entire time, and it just again was a great event supported by volunteers. So thank you.
Thank you for that. And quite appropriately, it was raining that day.
No.
It was when I went. So I will go back and do the Cowichan Valley Regional District Board report now. Tomorrow's meeting, I have asked my alternate, Councillor Sandu, to attend in my absence. I've had something come up that I must attend to. But in previous meetings, there was a service review of the economic division within the regional district that was endorsed and started. There is a process happening at the moment with a final report coming back to the board on what should be accommodated within that function moving forward. Many options will be provided to the board for a decision on the economic development function within the regional district. As 3-stream, which is garbage, recycling, and compost, it's not anticipated to begin until June 2025. Although the requisition was started in January, there was a number of residents throughout the electoral areas who felt that they were providing taxation without service. So they were coming forward with the possibility of accommodating free tipping fees for those residents. So at that meeting, it was moved and seconded that Area H residents, that's Yellow Point, Cedar, be given 2 vouchers for up to 32 kilograms of household waste as the full process rolls out in June. There was also an update provided on the drinking water and watershed protection program and a plan of the yearly review and what will be coming forward in 2025. The CBRD budget and 5-year financial plan was adopted. Lake Cowichan's increase for the services that we're involved in is $14.98 per 100,000 of assessed value. And they're utilizing that analogy instead of percentages because of the disparity between percentages throughout the regional district as to what people accommodate in the functions that they utilize within their areas. So the biggest increases for the town of Lake Cowichan were regional recreation, transit and commuter transit, and solid waste. They were the largest increases. I did post on my personal Facebook page the implications of those, and it shows which functions that the town of Lake Cowichan does go within the regional services. So that is on my personal Facebook page if you would like to have a look at that. The final budget is on the Cowichan Valley Regional District website and shows all areas with the increases or decreases, as the case may be in various areas, on the services that are provided for those communities. A little bit different than a municipality where each function has to have its own budget and has to be finalized that way. We have a little bit more leeway within the municipality where we can accommodate some funds to flow between our surpluses, et cetera. But in the regional district, it has to be within the function budget, which is laid out at the beginning of the year. So with that, I wish Councillor Sandu all the best tomorrow on a heavy agenda, but that's why she's there. Any questions? I'll pay for that. Moving forward, Otaki Twinning. Anything, Councillor Austin?
Yes, I attended the last meeting and I introduced Councillor Frisbee as the person who will be going with them to Japan, our representative, and suggested that they put him on their email list so he can report on that group. I will start working on the 2026 group after spring break is over. And the only query that they had, they said, don't let the new group start raising funds until they have finished, till they leave. So the end of June into January, or into July. So other than that, they're doing very well. They've got lots of money going, great people. And one of the parents, which is David Prack, is on that committee, and he will also be on the 2026. So that's a good follow-through and connection to the 2026 delegation. I already have 8 students on that list. I'm sure there'll be more. Thank you.
Thank you. And on that note, Yoshiniro Kageyama, who was a longtime superintendent of Date School Board, announced his retirement, which is effective on March 31st of this year. One of the staff members of Otaki Town Hall reached out to me and let me know the news. We have been in correspondence, Yoshi is his name, and myself, for a number of years, and we're very diplomatic on moving the delegations forward, which had a pause locally and in Date Otaki for a number of years. So the reinitiation of the interest in both communities was quite evident by the number of applications that have come forward in the last few years. So I sent a video message to Otaki Date City, which was read yesterday with a bouquet of flowers that was sent on his retirement. So I wish him all the best, and hopefully we can see our friends from our sister city in the near future. So with that, thank you for your report, and we'll look forward to Councillor Frisbee moving forward. The staff report has been postponed on the application from the contract planner. So we will move to bylaws. The Town of Lake Cowichan Sanitary Sewer Parcel Tax Bylaw number 1116-2025. Would you like to introduce this?
Yeah, this bylaw was given first, second, and third reading and is now here for reconsideration and adoption.
Thank you very much. Councillor Sandhu moves it, seconded by Councillor Austin. And in committee meetings, myself and Councillor Bomaka were hoping for a smaller increase in the sewer parcel tax. But as the committee endorsed this, we will certainly go along with the will of the body and vote in favor of this tonight, just to show unity moving forward, that even though you are opposed, when it is endorsed by this body, we own it as this body. So I'm going to call the question. All in favor? Opposed, if any? That motion carries. Thank you. Moving to the next bylaw, which is the Town of Lake Cowichan Water Parcel Tax Bylaw number 1117-2025. Ms. Gill.
Yes, the water parcel tax was also given first, second, and third reading. It is now here to be reconsidered and adopted.
Looking for a mover, Councillor Austin, seconded by Councillor Bomaka. Yeah, I've seen the left eye. Any discussion on that? All in favor? Opposed, if any? That motion carries. Under new business, we have 2 items there. First of all, the notice of the strategic planning and budget meeting, which is March 28th, 2025, right here in council chambers. Anything on that, staff, or it's quite explanatory, self-explanatory? It's been advertised. Mr. Brown?
Yes, it has, and just noting the time, it's 10 a.m.
10 a.m. on March 28th, open to the public, both portions of it. And I will go to Councillor Sandhu with a question.
Will we get the documents, financial budget documents, say Thursday at the latest, just to review a little bit, or?
Well, we're having a budget meeting tomorrow, and I will attempt to get them all done for revisions for Thursday to get to you.
Thank you. And if we could turn to staff on just having the strategic plan update spreadsheet provided at that meeting as well, just to show, I think we had it previously at a previous meeting where it showed what was completed, what was in motion, etc. So there is a spreadsheet that's available for our strategic plan goals, etc. So just if that could be accommodated as well, that would be great. So that is March 28th at 10 a.m. precisely, right here. Moving forward on the 2nd, let's go to the mayor's report. Leave of absence for Councillor Frisbee for tonight's meeting. Thank you. That is the other late item. Who moves that? Councillor Austin, seconded by Councillor Pomaka. All in favor? Opposed, if any? That motion carries. Thanks. So now the mayor's report, the quarterly report for March. The first quarter of 2025 has brought many changes, local, federally, and internationally. These outside pressures will impact many communities across BC and Canada as tensions between the USA and Canada change almost daily. As previously reported, our longtime CAO, Mr. Fernandez, has retired, and an interim CAO, Mr. Mark Brown, is guiding us during the transition period of searching for a permanent replacement. The advertisement seeking a replacement went out on March 21st, and after the closing date of April 18th, we will begin vetting the applicants for the best fit for the needs of council and the community. I wish to thank staff for taking on additional responsibilities as we navigate through this process. We certainly do appreciate it. And Councillor Frisbee has championed and done all the background work on the possibility of banning harmful sunscreens from use in our community. He has reached out to local businesses with the aim to encourage the sale of water-safe sunscreens as the weather warms and we see an influx of visitors seeking to recreate in the West Cowichan area. A statement was scheduled to be made in conjunction with International Water Day, but was not available. So staff is investigating the possibility of implementing a bylaw banning the sale of harmful sunscreens within the municipal boundaries, ensuring the legality of such a bylaw. This will help protect our heritage river and the aquatic environment. Budget deliberations are scheduled for Friday, the 28th of March, in conjunction with a strategic plan update. And contrary to social media posts, no decision has been made on the sewer treatment plant upgrades, although preliminary discussions have occurred on possible upgrades moving forward and what those financial costs could be. We continue to work on the current system with mitigation measures to eradicate some deficiencies identified by senior levels of government, and also upcoming lobbying to the Provincial Health Ministry is scheduled to discuss the health needs gaps in the West Cowichan area. Finally, I want to give a huge shout out to all the volunteers, and you heard the fire sirens, so especially to them prior to the meeting, in our community whose contributions contribute to a better community for all. And with that, that's the mayor's report for the first quarter. Any questions or comments on that? Seeing none, we have a notice of motion from Councillor Pomaka. If you could just introduce that.
It's just an update that when Sam Warning approached council about being able to get a temporary use permit for the disc golf at the former AB Greenwell School, we contacted Deborah Toporowski and met, I think it was a week or so ago, and she's quite interested. I guess she's an avid disc golfer herself, and suggested that the town council, because we're still waiting on the school property being under Crown land, for us to contact one of the Ravies. I don't know what their last names. Carolyn knows them. Yeah, the appropriate ministries, and she was hoping that we would be able to go to get a meeting at AVICC, but that's a little bit too close. So we're looking, it's the wish of council, if we perhaps could get a meeting, either UBCM or Victoria here locally, and to also notify Ms. Toporowski, as she would like to be there on our behalf to perhaps not only get that temporary use permit, but also to state our case about the A.B. Greenwell school property.
Perfect. So let's move this to committee of the whole with those discussions to occur at that time to accommodate a meeting with the appropriate ministry on the subject that you just brought forward. Everyone okay with that? That's the only notice of motion I had at the beginning of the agenda. Do I see any more at this time? Seeing none, we have question period. So questions are limited to items on the agenda. If you have a question, please approach the podium, state your name and what question you would like to ask us. If we cannot provide the answer tonight, we will certainly accommodate an email once we do have the information requested. For anyone off-site who is watching and wishes to phone in, the number is 250-749-3239. That's 749-3239. Anyone in the audience with a question tonight? Looks like we gave, sir?
Sorry. Blake Bergen, local. So my question is, and kind of a question and a comment on the banning of the suntan lotion that contain harmful ingredients, I suppose you'd say that. And you said one of the reasons was that it's harmful to our environment, the lake water, that type of thing. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so I feel that that is just doing like resolving a quarter of the issue, because what about people who are bathing in our lakes? I've witnessed many tourists who bring down a bar of soap to the local docks, and they jump into the water and they're bathing. They have bottles of shampoos and that type of thing. They must contain harmful ingredients as well.
I'm sure they do.
So maybe we should be thinking about a ban on all of these things.
That could be something that could be brought forward in discussions for certain. This was one topic that was brought forward by Councillor Frisbee on trying to accommodate the removal of harmful sunscreens for those who recreate within the Cowichan River and the Cowichan Lake area. Unfortunately, most of the water within Cowichan Lake itself does not reside within the municipality. The only authority we have is up to the watermark, not in the river. That would be the Department of Transportation.
Okay.
We've had problems with trying to accommodate speed limits, for instance, on the river with that sort of idea, because we don't have that jurisdiction. So we're looking at what we have in our toolbox and what we can accommodate to try to do what we can in what we put forward to try to.
Okay, so unfortunately, again, it's just really resolving half of the problem and half of the issue.
Correct, but we will take your comments into consideration for the future.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Seeing no others, and I don't see the phone ringing off the hook. I think we do have a in-camera item this evening. Mr. Brown, if you could.
Yes, Your Worship. So we requested to go in camera under Section 92 of the Community Charter requires that before a meeting or part of a meeting is closed to the public, the council must state by resolution that the meeting is to be closed, and the basis on which the meeting is to be closed falls under the following sections of the Community Charter. Section 90, subsection 1C, labor relations or other employee relations, and sections 91, subsection F, law enforcement.
Do I have a motion to go in camera? Moved by Councillor Sandu, seconded by Councillor Bomaka. All in favor? Opposed, if any? That motion carries. We'll just take a short break and resume shortly.